Good evening, everybody. This is John Marola from Keeping It Real Section 5 Football. And yes, we're here again. And tonight, as you can tell, my two partners are still out on vacation. Paul is down in sunny Florida, and Dave is down in rainy Georgia right now, but at least it's not snowing. So in his place, I have on, which I had on 2 weeks ago, is Aquinas Hall of Famer and former writer for Super Prep magazine, Bob Ebert. Bob, thanks for being here.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right.
Coach, thanks for coming.
Thanks for being here.
And our guy in the middle is the head coach at Avon Riverhawks. We were just talking about that a little bit. And it's Andy Englert. Coach, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for inviting me back again.
Hey, 2 great seasons, you know. We just want to talk a little bit about, you know, what's been going on the last couple seasons, and is there any magic dust going on out in Avon that we don't know about or something? But whatever's going on is definitely working. So we're going to have Bob start off, and we'll go from there.
Well, in doing some research for today, I noticed that you've been the head coach out there for, was it 27 or 28 years
Yeah,
now?
28 years.
28 years. In this day and age, coaches don't usually stick around that long, you know, for a variety of reasons. I'm just wondering how you've managed to hang on that long.
Yeah, I think you know, back when I started and going through it, Avon's been a great community, a great school district for me. You know, I've been lucky to have such a great group of players and students and coaches within our program. And you know, when you look back, it's hard to believe it's been 28 years. But you know, I think every year that you coach football, you cherish the opportunities and build off the kids that you have in your school district. And you know, I've been lucky with my coaching staff. If you look at Mike McGough, our defense coordinator, he's been with me for over 20 years. Justin Dupengeiser's been with me for 16 years. Actually was my ball boy back when I was at Perry many years ago. And you know, Larry Tita and Matt Benetti and you know, we added on Joe Montesano into the staff, and even our coaches within the program at the modified and JV level have been just a great. I think every year you go into it, you look at a vision of, you know, being successful and being committed. And, you know, Avon's a rare place because we're one of the small D schools that doesn't merge.
Yeah, I noticed that.
We're just Avon, and I think we take a lot of pride in that. And when every year comes in, you got to make sure you have numbers and then build the kids into the system and believing in the system. And, you know, I've been very lucky with it and very proud to be a Avon, now Riverhawk.
That's awesome.
I can imagine with all the success you've enjoyed over the years that you have good buy-in from the community.
Yeah, in all of our sports programs. I mean, people don't realize, like, you know, we win in sectionals in football, but all of our sports teams have been very successful over the years. And you know, just this past year with teams in the semifinals and finals, and you know, I think that's the cool thing that our system and administration, Board of Education, community support, and you know, we're lucky as coaches to have that.
You see, I'm kind of getting into a little bit of I'm noticing a little bit of a trend in a great way. We had Coach Lane in a couple weeks ago from Brighton, and we talked to him, and basically it's the same thing. It's you have your core coaches that have been around for a while together, and you guys just grow off of that, you know. And I think for people out there, not that new coaches are bad or what, but it may take some time.
Yep.
And these days, people don't want to have time. You know, they live right now, and that's what they're looking at. So, but it takes a little bit of time, and then you find your niches with each other and how each other your positives and, you know, things that, well, you got to work on. You know, it's going to take a little time.
I think continuity is a big plus for any program. I mean, to have the same coaches pretty much, you know, the same head coach especially. You know, things stay the same. Kids get buy into it and just go from there.
And I think the big thing in any program as a head coach is that every coach is important in your system, and everybody has a role and responsibility. And I think the communication that we have amongst each other is that, you know, you make the final decisions as a head coach, but you have coaches within your program that believe in you, and you believe in them, and it makes it a trustful thing through the kids, and the kids see that, and the kids want to buy into it and be a part of it. And we've been, again, with the coaches that we've had, the experience has been great with those guys, and building the numbers, and when you go to the weight room, we'll have, for a small school, I just was just recently at Webster Thomas, and they had like 60 kids in there, and I have 60 kids in my program, but if I get 30 kids in the weight room, that's awesome, and you have 7 or 8 coaches, so it's good stuff.
It is awesome.
Yep.
It is. As far as, let's go back a little bit on your 2025 season. Let's talk about that, and because those seasons don't come around too much, those sectional championship seasons. What was your thinking about going into last year's team?
Well, we graduated a great class last, 2 years ago.
Yep.
When we made the run from it, and I think it's the next guy up and next responsibility of the next player, and believing in the system overall. I'm going to keep on bringing that up. I think that's a big thing for us, and for us, when you look at it, I think the challenging parts throughout the season was we were never healthy. You look at Brighton was the same way. Like they didn't get everybody back until the end, and we lucked out. We never got everybody back, and just the next person up. And I think in any program, you establish first in your offense and defensive line. You take your skill guys and develop around it. You see what kids you have and your philosophy of offense or defense gels with that group. So we made changes this year in the off season, and I think that the kids just, looked at that schedule that we had. As a D school, we played a B school, we played a C school before we played a D school. So, in football schedules, as a D program, you never play anybody lower than you, right? You always play either a C or somebody up. And
yeah.
I think that was a good challenge for us, competition-wise. And again, we faced many challenges throughout the course of the year with injuries and the next person up, and some tough games with those crossovers, and finding a way to finish out the season was important. And people will look back and say that we won sectionals, but man, we had a lot of challenges. And I even think about a Geneseo program that was. Maybe not the greatest record team, but man, we had a battle in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes left to have a drive established down the field to get the win, and we were able to do that. So
that's special. And the tough part, maybe it's not, is we were talking a little bit about kids live in the present. Their parents are definitely in the present, and that next man up mentality. Your kids must have really bought into it, because you had your share of injuries this past year. And if that kid coming up now as a starter, if he's good in his mind as far as, okay, this is my time, instead of being like, when am I ever going to get in? And blah, blah, blah. And that's, it's not going to get you through a good season. But, I commend your kids and your coaches because I know I'm looking through your stuff that you did have your share of injuries.
Yeah, we did.
And but it seemed like always the next kid that it was his time, he came in and performed.
What do your numbers look like for the program?
Yeah, like we had this is actually in my 28 years we had this is the fourth year that we didn't have JV, so we had a varsity and then a Mod A team. We had like 63 kids total between the two levels. Which is good for a D school, not merged.
Yeah.
I think the one thing is you can expect in our program, if you are an athlete that is does good in all phases, that you're probably not going to come off the field, right? You're going to play offense, you're going to play defense, you're going to play special teams. And, Kale Mendogas is one of those guys that, you look at him as a running back or a quarterback or a receiver and a defensive back, and actually is a tremendous long snapper.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. So, guys
Just
like
an
that,
athlete.
you find at different places.
Just an athlete, You can't have enough of those.
Right.
Those kids you can just plug in. And he's a special one because during the season, then we're up at Premier Sports, we do our podcast up there, and every week his name is in there. Cal, And just what a special player that had to be. You don't get kids like that all the time.
Right. Yeah, you know, as much as he is a great athlete, he's a great person too, a great leader within our program. And, you know, you look at somebody like Cal, Evan Bly was our starting quarterback last year, week 3, you know, had an ACL injury. You know, Bly comes back for his senior year and works tremendously hard in the off season and getting himself back on track. And, you know, and then Cal has to, you know, challenge between positions. And I think the good thing for us was the leadership and ability of Evan Bly and Cal fed off each other in our success, you know, and we weren't just like one-dimensional. You know, Evan had 2,100 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, and then you take Cal, who had almost 1,600 yards of total offense, divided between the receiving and rushing, and 29 touchdowns. So, you know, offensively, I think we were balanced. I think that we were able to do multiple things, and those kids were just tremendous leaders. And Cal just, you know, again, just a great person outside of football in the way he represents.
That's awesome.
And he's a 3-sport athlete, and that's one of the things we were talking about. Small school is like, you know, we rely on those kids not just to play football. We want you to play football, basketball, you know, wrestle, baseball, lacrosse. You know, we want kids to do 3 sports because that's how you're going to be successful as a small school.
Yeah, there's nothing like competition.
No.
I mean, even in, you know, when we have the large guys, you know, the AA guys in here, the coaches, and they're always pushing their kids to play 3 sports, you know. And I've always believed in that as coming up through my playing years and then coaching. You know, there's nothing like competing. There's nothing like you're in front of spectators and you have to perform.
Yep.
And not taking anything away from the weight room, but if you're not playing a sport, you better be in their weight room.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Actually, even if you are playing a sport, you should still be in the weight room.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe on a different program as far as, you know, a kid that's probably playing basketball, you don't want to be probably bench pressing your limit all the time or your max. Excuse me. Got that freaking winter cold coming back. All right, let's talk about your kids now over the last couple of years. We talked earlier about as far as kids going on to college. What do you got as far as kids the last couple of years going where and doing what?
Yeah, I think that's the hard thing is like, you know, having coaches. I think Division III does a great job in coming out and seeing the kids and being involved. You know, I just had Carter Frank, starting offensive lineman at Alfred U. Just finished his senior year. Thomas Welch is at Alfred U. Both of those are actually come from a small school program. Both team captains down there at Alfred U. So that shows a lot from us within. And Thomas has one more year. But you know, the kids that go off. You know, I think Evan Bly is going to play DUville for the lightweight sprint. They just started a program up. So I mean, we have kids that are looking to go out and participate at the next level. I think that's the thing is when you go on to that next level is, you know, no matter what level it is that it's a responsibility and ability to have that right mindset to accomplish and finish through 4 years and get your, you know, education that you need for whatever field you're going to go into, and playing college football is just the next level, and it's important. It takes a tough individual to be able to do that mindset, to know that you know, 6 a.m.s or weight rooms and the different times and juggling your school classes. And, you know, football is one of those sports that, you know, at some point it's going to end for you, right? You're never going to, but I mean, if you want to play golf and you play the golf team, you're going to play golf probably all the way up through your career, or tennis or something like that. But football's different. You know, football, you only have a certain time in your life to play. And
it could end
you
at
take
any
that,
time.
Yeah, and take that opportunity to be able to do it is a huge thing. So, you know, I think those kids that go on to the next level, represent who we are, and you know, hopefully when they get into that next level, those coaches appreciate what we've been able to establish in them.
That's so important. I think, you know, kids, you know, even just going on and you're not playing D1 football, but guess what? I come up, you know, Division III football is not that bad.
Right.
I mean, you get to Cortland now, where they've elevated, you know, somewhat. I mean, it's a lot of time. It's a commitment.
Yep.
Let's put it this way: most kids that are playing high school football won't even play Division III football.
Yeah.
The majority. You got to be pretty good even to play Division III. So
Yeah,
a lot of kids look down. I don't want to go Division III. I want to go Division I.
Right.
Well, you're not going to.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of great programs around this area that offer a great level of football. And my daughter's at Cortland. She plays flag football, and so we've gone up many weekends to watch Cortland games and Brockport games and be able to establish that.
Now let's go back a little bit. I skipped over this and I just dug it back up here. I want to talk a little bit about your sectional final game with Notre Dame or Batavia Notre Dame and Bayern Bergen.
Yeah, we played them in the regular season. It's funny is if you look back and even in the score that we played them, I can't remember. It was like maybe 42-20 that we played them in the regular season, or 48-20 in the regular season. We were down 20-0.
Yes,
and got to kind of wake up a little bit and get going. But Batavia Notre Dame has some tremendous athletes, and they're a team in Class D that got hot. And I probably do the worst thing as a head coach is I coach against my own kid who's a starting linebacker at York Pavilion. And he was in that game that lost the Notre Dame on the very last play of the game. And during the regular season, York beat us. And then, we thought that was going to be the matchup, father-son matchup there. And I guess you got to play every down, every second of every game and to finish out. And Notre Dame has tremendous athletes, and their coaches did a great job. They got hot at the end of the season, one of those games that you're nervous going into. But once we got going in the finals, I felt like, we had things in control, and I felt like our guys that step up throughout the course of the year stepped up during that game. And, Kale had a great game, and Evan had a great game. And it was, James Chase, you look at him as a sophomore, he had over 900 yards of offense for us. Those guys just got hot, and we had a great game plan going into it, and we were able to establish it. And we appreciate Coach Mangone and SUNY Brockport hosting that game. And
it's a great time of the year to get hot.
Yeah, it is too. You get to the end of the season. We lost the next round to Newfane, who was just a tremendous group of kids. And when the wheels fall off, the wheels fell off, right? And it didn't matter if you lost by 1 or you lost by 50. You weren't advancing on, and it was sad to end the season that way. But when you look back in the history and stuff like that, that was didn't sum up the whole season. It just we just didn't get over that hump that we wanted to.
Yeah, but you got there.
Yeah, we got there.
You won the sectionals. So
yeah,
nice.
That's a huge step to begin with.
Well, let me ask you one question. How did that work the week of the York game with you and your son?
Well, it's pretty funny. We we bust each other. They actually had a tremendous game against us, and flying around. But he's been up on varsity since a 9th grader, and so we've had multiple seasons of doing that. And it probably feel worse for my wife than anything for her to have to deal with that. But we find a way to get through it, and it's a profession that I'm in, and he's a tremendous player himself, and they had a great season at York Pavilion. It just didn't end up the way they wanted to.
I mean, playing against your son, I'm sure you had moments in the game where you're like looking at, that's my son. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he had some good hits in it.
Help it.
Yeah, he had some good hits in it, and and I think that's I think as a father and a coach to watch somebody play the way that he does on the field, and makes you feel good. And it's one of those things where you got to the end of the season. I guess didn't have that chance to play each other one more time for a title, but in 1990, Dan Carhair was our coach at York, and that was the only sectional title at York, and I was a member of that team, and so he, in his vision, was thinking to only have the 2 trophies, father-son trophy in the showcase at York would be a pretty neat thing. But he has one more year and see what he's got, and we'll go from there.
That's awesome.
You went through that, Johnny. You know what that's all about.
Yeah, I'm a son of a coach. My father was coaching at Fairport. I'm playing at Aquinas. And I'll never forget, this is 40 whatever years ago. I remember making a tackle on the sideline, and this hand came down in front of me to help me up. And so I grabbed it, and I looked up, and it was my dad.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he looks at me and goes, I'm not going to do this for you the whole game. And I said, it's just... Looking back, it was special.
Yep.
Playing them in the sectional finals. I'll never forget that day. It was on a Saturday, and I'm pacing around the house, because there's a game.
Yeah.
He's laying on the couch sleeping. And then he opens his eye up. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "There's a game tonight. We're playing. There's a game tonight." He goes, "Ah." He turned over and went back to sleep.
That's funny.
But that's those are lifetime memories. You know, I'm sure you and your son will hold
Definitely
with each other forever and ever. Let's talk now about off season. What's going on? What's going on in Avon these days in the off season?
Yeah, so we have a weight room that's open up for our kids at school. So it's not just like football wise right now, but that's gearing up, coming back from break. And then skills and drills. We'll do our skills and drills on the weekends. And as we get into the weight room and the skills and drills, we'll start preparing for our 7-on-7s. We do multiple 7-on-7s. You think about Brighton. We go 7-on-7 with them in the off season. Different teams around the area. We do the Cortland 7-on-7 tournament in preparation. So it's
that's been getting a lot of momentum.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we did it a couple years ago. I like the lineman challenge that they do down there. To involve the linemen. Anytime that you can push a bus and do a tug of war and tire flips and stuff, it's fun for them to be challenged. And then 7-on-7, we did really well in that this year too. And I think that's those preparations again. We have kids that are, again, multi-sports, so we have to balance around and make sure that we're utilizing our time and their time and not running them down too much. But I think we had a great weight room off season last year that helped us prepare going into this season. Again, if you get 25, 30 kids in there as a Class D into the weight room, that's very successful, and the coaches that buy into it. It's been really good. So, between the when it's open in the morning to open after school and open at nighttime, kids have the opportunity to get into the weight room.
That's great.
Yep.
You need it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got to be a part of a winning football team.
Yeah.
It's good for injury prevention too.
It is. And I
there.
think like that, anytime you can get a little bigger, faster, stronger, it's gonna help you and prevent. And I look at Evan Bly, what he did from coming back from his injury, the weight room and the preparation that he had to do. He was able to establish and get himself healthy and being able to play was a lot of that contribute to the extra stuff outside the season to get strength on.
So now let's get into the 2026 Riverhawks opening season football. What's this year look like?
Yeah, we made that switch in schedules from Federation back to the leagues. Not really different for Class D because pretty much a lot of our schools were Class D schools from Livingston County and Genesee region, and now adding some Finger Lakes. I think as we go into next season, you look at guys that you have to replace in the offensive line, defensive line, the Evan Bly and Cal Mendogas and Bobby Bridges and Bladen Borshin, and you have so many guys that you look at that were big established, and I think the good thing is that you got to have that next guy that wants to earn that spot. I look at a guy returning, James Chase, sophomore, tremendous wrestler and football player. You got guys, the quarterback will be a battle position. I think that'll be a good thing for us going in the off season and the skills and drills and 7-on-7 to see who shows up and wants to compete at that. But, going into the season is just like any year, you pride yourself on what happened last year. It's a new season, new group of kids. How's your philosophy fit with what personnel you have? And then go from there.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. I think it's any year that you put the equipment out and kids come in and you see who's committed and who wants to be there.
Now, talk to me for a second. Head football coach.
Yep.
Wrestling coach.
Yep.
Athletic director.
Yep.
Anything else we're missing? What else is in there?
I do a little aquatics director for the school too,
really?
And then I help coordinate the programs to make sure the weight room's open. And then school safety aide, I work with a high school principal, discipline and stuff throughout the day. So it's a great connection with the kids throughout the school day, and I think that at some point things will be replaced and go from there.
Do you see an end coming in your soon in your career? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think that 28 years in, close to that 55 and 30 in. And, but kids in college and stuff like that, you don't know what that next chapter will be, or when the stage will change. I think football will always be a part of my life. I think it's been a great field so far, all the way up through, and tremendous programs and relationships that you build through the sport of football has been big. Probably the one thing that I really cherished from the sectional run was I had the opportunity to have Dave Wickham and Wade Bianco come in, and you look at those two guys that are so involved still in football after years, and I did that and bring those guys in because Dave was a Section 5 champion for the Avon Braves in 1983, and Wade was in 1986, and then through my years. So it was cool to be able to do that picture, and you look at two guys like that are involved in New York State and NFF, National Football Foundation, that Wade is involved in, and Dave does a lot of the Finger Lake scheduling, and I think he still coaching or just stepped down in the last couple of years.
Down.
Yeah, last couple of years. But you think about the journey, and football's always been a part of their lives, and I think that's one of the things I look back. When I was in school, Wade Bianco was my Eddie Meath coach back 100 years ago, right? And so you appreciate people like that, and I go back in the days of the first time Avon advanced to the finals in 2001, and in our weight room we have a picture, and you got guys like Gene Maston and Wayne Carroll and Mike Monticelli and Brian Moran and Steve Dralmone, and those guys are like, back in the days you looked up, and Tim McMullen from Letchworth that had a state championship in 2016, and I was one of the young guys with those guys, and those guys are done with football, and now I'm the old guy, right? So it's one of those things, throughout.
Unfortunately, but fortunately,
yeah.
That's the way it goes.
So hopefully, in our roles that we play, and what I do is it helps establish future football coaches or players, and I think that's key for anything. And I think when I involved with the officials, I look at guys like Pete McCabe and those guys that just do so much for our game, and and football is a brotherhood. It's a family thing, and it's different. It's different, So.
And I just want to commend you on, coaches like you, we don't see around that 28 years coaching. If you can get these days, what? Maybe 10? Maybe? Out of a coach?
How many have we had?
Holy Christ. I don't want to go back. But, yeah, I mean, it's and that kind of definitely raised my eyebrows a little bit, because I know it's a different time and all that, but still, it's still high school football. And the majority of the kids are going to go on to be professionals in something other than sports. And just for you to be still doing this and everything and going through all the changes.
Yeah.
It takes a special person.
No, thank you. Yeah, I still always a big believer. You surround yourself around great people, good things will happen, and I've been lucky to have that. And I think 28 years and being at the same place, is different. And I think that just shows like the commitment of our community. The kids up through, and now I'm aging myself. I'm starting to get players that I had years ago. Their kids coming up now, coming up, and guys that you have on your team, and I think that just shows like, man, time flies, right? Like you have fun with it and you enjoy it, and I think that's one of the things. When you stop loving the game, you stop, right? But if you keep loving the game and surround yourself around great people, you're going to cherish those opportunities.
I think you got another 10 or 15 years in you.
I look at though, right? I could have that noise on years in there. Yeah. I think that like the years that you put into it, it's amazing. You think about the off-season program and the time that you commit for others, and other children. That time they should commit to you because you give them the opportunity. I think that's a huge thing. Like, I don't travel across the valley just to be there. I travel across the valley to help out, and you want kids to buy into what you do, and if they don't want to buy in, then maybe you're doing something wrong.
I would say you and Rich Lapani are like the
old timers.
the grandfathers.
You're not.
Body, I think he's, I think about the years when I started at Avon, and we used to go up to SUNY Brockport, and they did a team camp up there, and those guys would bring in. I did the gridiron too for years, and the gridiron was Fairport, Spencerport, Avon, and Canandaigua.
Wow.
And I would go in with 18 kids, and they come in with 50 kids. And when Lapani was at, when he was go to that camp at Brockport, just a tremendous. And you think about the connection he has and what he's done for kids. And, I still say he's like one of those old school guys where, hold people accountable and believe in your core values and expectations within your program are key. And, he just loves what he's doing and he's going to keep on going. And I think, guys like that, you cherish what they have done and the success that they have had. And, you look at, was it Penfield? Bianchi.
Yeah, Anthony.
Coached him in the Eddie Meath game, years ago, and they're here. You got young guys like that. So I think as veteran coaches that you hopefully establish time in, and those guys love the game and want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Now going back just a little, we were talking about your years in as coaching. I was talking to a friend of ours, George Giordano.
Yeah.
And George is coaching over at Irondequoit.
Yeah.
So I think he's nearing his 50th year of coaching. So he told me, he goes, as soon as I have a kid come in and say, hey, coach, you coached my grandfather. George said, I'm putting everything down.
I'm walking away.
Out to the car, I'm done. Yeah. Yep. So it sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it does too. But, like you guys that, hosting like events like this, again, being the second time coming up here, and I wanted to bring my assistant coaches just an experience with that. But you guys have been around football for a long time, and you're still doing it. And I think that's the cool thing is you're here and talking about the great game in Section 5 and what is going on good throughout Section 5. But this kind of stuff is good for football overall.
I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it again, is that how we. I don't even know if we talked about this at all, but how this came about was a couple years ago. Bob and I, Paul Burgandy, George, and Sammy Casarino, we were on our way down to Ohio to watch Massillon was playing Valdosta.
Uh-huh.
And Valdosta's the most winningest high school football in America, and Massillon was number 3. And, you go to their state, it seats 18,000. It's just, it's a different world, high school football down there. I just love it. But, we were in the car, we're driving, and, I'm driving and saying,
somewhere near the New York-Pennsylvania border,
I think it wasn't there. And, I said, we should do something. High school football around here, we should do something. And then, I looked at Paul and I said, hey, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
We should do a podcast. And, so I'm driving, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I see George in the back seat. He's rolling his eyes at me. Sure.
I was right next to him, so I saw him do it too.
So, when he did that to me, and I told him afterwards, I said, that got me going as far as doing this, because now I had to get into a world where, if I could turn a computer on, I'm in great shape.
Right.
Now I have to go through all this stuff, and I've had my share of mistakes doing this, but I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy meeting people like yourself.
Thank you.
With me as a son of a coach, this it's not going anywhere. This is who I am to the end, and I just love meeting the younger coaches in Section 5, the student athletes. It's just been really a lot of fun doing that. And, I said this a couple weeks ago. We're kind of, talking about this. Bob's sister passed away about a month ago.
I was sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and that was kind of his. And my brother passed away 2 weeks ago.
Jeez.
And he was a big football player. So we're kind of dedicating the last couple episodes in their name. I know Nancy, Bob's sister, helped them out in Aquinas a lot with game day programs.
I got her working in the concession stand. I got her doing selling programs.
And then my brother, you know, like I said, we're two sons of my dad was a coach for 40-something years. And, you know, it's just, you know, it's in the blood.
Yep.
You know, it's not going anywhere. This is it.
What else would you rather do?
I
I
know.
mean, a big thing for us is getting in the car and going to Massillon, Ohio. We used to go to the Big 33 down in Pennsylvania every year. I mean, people go, why don't you go on a golf trip? Or
We did that
Go to
too.
football. Yeah.
We go down and play golf, and then we go watch football.
I know.
We do both.
Yeah, you know. So, you know, I haven't said this in a while, but you know, I tell people, you know, get out. If you really like high school football, go to Erie, PA. It's 2.5 hours from here. Their football down there is amazing. Go to the Mecca, I call it now, is at Massillon, Canton, Ohio. Football Hall of Fame. Take your family down. Go to the football. They've redone the Hall of Fame. We've seen it, Bob and I, you know, from where it was to where it is now. And it's remarkable how much money they put in the Football Hall of Fame. It's a great weekend, you know, so. Excuse me. Yeah. Winter cold.
I know.
Kicking back. But I just want to say thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Coach.
Appreciate it.
And, hey, all the luck to you guys again this year. I mean, I think your motto should just be next man up.
We got to get down there and catch a game.
Yeah, you come down, come on sideline and watch, and you know, Avon. That's the funny thing is, you just get on 390 and we're right there,
yeah.
and it's a good atmosphere down there.
We play golf at Farview sometimes, so
All
we
right.
get down that way.
Yeah,
you go right past
we'll
us
go
then.
play golf and then watch a football game. It's a perfect Friday.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's you know, I think with us, you know, we've been lucky and you know, in the sense too, not just always lucky, but I have a lot of pride in our program. And you know, this past year was a fun run. And it was nice to be able to put another sectional block in the showcase, and you know, be around some great kids, and to have the run that we had was, you know, something that you'll look back on and have the memories of. So
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not ending.
no, keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling, sonnies. Keep it running. Okay. Now at the end, what we're going to do is just turn and point the camera and say, keep it real, Section 5 football.
All right,
Ready?
yep.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Keeping it real, Section 5 football.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.
I don't know what to do with it. Suddenly, a part of me just wants to go back to how it used to be. Suddenly, a part of me just wants to go back to how it used to